Hi guys, happy Sunday. Let's do a craft, shall we? Okay, just to get the stuff out of the way, I'm wearing gloves. I have windows open for, fresh air to come in. I've already made one. It worked. It is over here drying. I have it under a plastic container because Georgia and pollen. I'm not going to turn it too much because it is still drying, but that is the first one that I did. I'll set that back over there. And they said to be sure you kept it covered up with something because you don't want any, dust or, cat hair or pollen or anything like that getting into it. Lost my cup. I have watched a ton of videos. I have read articles that people have sent me, and I have made one, and what I did worked. So I'm just going to do exactly what I did last time. And I even used my little heat tool on it. What I read about that was to not hold it in one place too long because it could cause it to turn yellow. It could discolor it. So I would, hold it above it, swirl it around, and then I would move it off and then, come back maybe an hour later. So just to kind of help it dry, because it did say that it needs to be between 70 and 80 degrees where you do it. And my house is never between 70 and 80 degrees. So but the most important thing is to try not to allow bubbles to get into your project. So I'm just, like I said, I'm going to do the same thing. Now, I bought Amazing Clear Cast resin at Michael's. I think they probably sell it. They probably sell it on Amazon. They probably sell it at Walmart. But I got mine at Michael's. The little cups came in it. And right here at the bottom where it says 5 cc's. So I'm going to put part A up to 5 cc's. And then I'm going to put part B up to where it says 10 cc's, where it reads 10 cc's. So I'm just going to start by pouring part A in here. And I even have a black plastic bag down so it doesn't get on my countertop. And I have a pan sitting here to put it in for extra protection that's raised up on the sides. So if something does happen and it tips over. So I got, I almost did it. Okay, so I got a little more than 5 cc's from what I can see. It's so hard to see. No, actually it looks like it's right on the line. Looks like it's right on the line of 5 cc's. Of course it's crooked right now, but anyway, now I'm going to add part B. So I'm going to take the lid for part A and put that on and move it off to the side. And then I'm going to add part B. This was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. I have been fretting it, but it worked out great. Okay? That looks to be right at 10 cc's, right? Now this is the worst part to me because I'm not a patient person. So let me take these off. Stirring. Stirring is the worst part because you have to stir it slowly, and even stirring it slowly, you're gonna get bubbles in there. You're supposed to stir it for 4 minutes. So what I did this morning, as I stirred it, when I saw bubbles pop up, I would just push those bubbles to the side and pop them. Scrape the sides as you go, scrape the bottom as you go, and then just continue stirring. But try to stir slowly. Don't get all in a hurry, because the more vigorous you stir, the more air bubbles you're gonna get. And you don't want air bubbles, okay? By the way, this reminds me of the 60s. And The person who grew up next door to me, Karen, her dad used to make these resin grapes. I think they were resin. They were clear, but they had air bubbles in them. And he would make the grapes, and he would make different fruits out of this resin. And I always thought they were the coolest thing ever. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? I mean, I guess they're resin or they're glass or something, but they're heavy, and they intentionally left the bubbles in them. So see how many bubbles? Can y'all see that? I just take it and push it up against the side like this, real gently, and I go ahead and pop those bubbles, and I scrape along the bottom as I do it to make sure that nothing gets stuck there, and then just keep stirring. Barb made some beautiful jewelry on her channel. She made some pendants, so I might look at doing that next, but I wanted to do these mason jar lids because I just thought they were so cute. And I bought the little stickers at Michael's yesterday to go in them. But you could use stuff out of your yard. You know, you wouldn't have to buy anything. I looked at the violet last night, and it's like it's not going to lay flat. And I'm not sure that this has a deep enough lip on it to account for that. So the epoxy or the resin would have to be super thick. So anyway, I'm just going to go with these stickers. But like I said, the stirring is the hardest part because it is slow. Started out my day with my dad calling me his car wouldn't crank, and he thinks the battery went dead because his car door didn't close completely last night, which he didn't realize that till this morning. So then he tried to charge it using one of those portable battery chargers, and it wouldn't crank. So he called me and asked me to take him over to the church. And I said, okay, but I have a nail appointment at 12, so I'm not going to be able to pick you back up. So, you know, you'll have to get somebody to bring you home or call my brother and, you know, have him come get you. So that's what he did. He called my brother. And so then he gets home and charged his charger thing. It wouldn't crank. So then he closed the hood, and we couldn't figure out how to get the hood back open. We were pulling the wrong latch. Yeah. Anyway, I was pulling the trunk release. But that's what he said the hood release was. And of course, y'all know me. I couldn't really see down there to see what it said. So anyway, long story short, he called my sister. It used to be her car, and she told him the hood release is way down at the bottom. So anyway, he got it open, and he had to charge that portable charger 3 different times, and each time he would go connect it and then, you know, put it back on there. And finally, the 3rd time, it had charged enough that it just cranked. So he drove it around the neighborhood just to make sure it was good. And then he was going to take it up on the interstate, you know, and drive it for like a half hour or something just to make sure the battery gets good and charged. So, all right, I think it's been about 3 or 4 minutes. There's not many bubbles in here at all. Can y'all see? It's hard to see, but trying not to spill it and also for you to see. But it's got what they call micro bubbles in it. So I'm just going to gently push those against the side. I mean, you're not going to probably get it without any bubbles whatsoever. Now, I read one important thing you need to do is if you are putting this on a porous object, like wood is porous, that you need to pour some of this first so that it can fill in like where it says ball, and fill in the wood because it is porous. And then you can place your things and then pour some more of the resin, because it's going to make bubbles if you just put it all on there without doing a layer first. So I just keep this pretty close to the lid, and then I just kind of rolled it around like this to get it all covered. Might put just a tad more. And I like these because they already have a little wall or a dam to keep it pretty well contained. If it doesn't have sidewalls on it, then you would need to put tape around the edges to keep it from, you know, overflowing. But thankfully these lids already have a pretty good wall. And if you do see any air bubbles at this point, this heater will help. I don't see any, but I'm just gonna go ahead and run it for just a second. I still feel like I need some more. I just need a tad more. It's a beautiful day in Georgia, and Charlie's ready to go for a walk. I'm gonna do this for just a second. I'm gonna put it on this metal. It's just like a old baking dish. Okay, and now we get to do the fun stuff and put the little pictures on here. So let me put my glasses back on so I can see. I used a brown butterfly on the other one, so I might go with one of these big blue ones because I like these blue ones. And of course Charlie wants out. Hold on just a second. Okay, so I picked this one. I don't know if you can really see it. Oh my gosh, now the other one wants out. This is the story of my life. And I just asked her if she wanted out. Nope. There she goes to bark at the fence. And I was just bragging on how well she was doing. Okay, so I'm going to take the butterfly and I'm going to kind of angle it kind of like that. I want to keep it kind of up at the top like that. And then I'm going to take a piece of this greenery. I've got a little fern piece right here. But y'all know you can totally use real fern pieces. Uh-oh, I see a bubble. I see a bubble. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. If you get a bubble, you can just take something and pop it. I didn't know I already had resin on this knife from opening the bottle, so I'm gonna move that back up. Okay, okay, okay. And then I'm going to take the little piece of fern and I'm just gonna put it right here at the bottom, like that. Now, because it slid, I'm gonna move it back up. Okay. And now I'm going to pour the rest of the resin over the top. I'm gonna hold y'all so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Hold on just a second. Okay, so I'm just using my knife because I need to get it kind of put in place. Because when you have some of this underneath and then you pour it on top, it kind of starts to float. Now I'm going to use the heat gun again. And see how it's right up to the edge? Now, when I had some come to the edge on the other one, I just kind of wiped it off like that. I don't think it's gonna hurt to have a little bit up there. I just don't want it to have a lot and then it go over the side. Isn't that pretty? No bubbles. No bubbles. Except right there. It's kind of satisfying to bust the bubbles, to bust anybody's bubbles. But I'm holding this way up like this. I'm not holding it right down on top of it. Other people said you could use a lighter, like a grill lighter. That scares me a little bit. Chemicals and lighters, but several people told me, so I'm sure it's fine. With me being a klutz, I would rather not. I love the color of the butterfly. And y'all, that's really it. I mean, that's all you have to do. And it needs to sit for, I think it said 24 to 48 hours. I may have a harder time with this drying because my house is not warm. I keep my house on 67. So I think that'll just make it a little bit, take it longer to dry. But I just keep coming by with this and heating it up, and then I'll cover it up and leave it for a while, and then I'll come back and do it again. And the other one, it is setting. Let me take this lid off. And no bubbles. No bubbles. Isn't that nice? And I put this down because I wanted to see, I wanted this, I got a string of epoxy, You know what, let me use the heater, because maybe the heater will melt it a little bit. But I wanted to see the ball writing on there. Oh yeah, so I just had a string go across there. I don't know if y'all could see it. But I just turned this heat tool back on it. And if you don't have a heat tool, you can totally use a hair dryer. But I just put the heat back on it and it just melted that back down. But on this one, of course, I covered up the ball writing. And these were in the same box. One was way lighter and one was way darker. Maybe you don't know what you get. No, I still got that string there. Oops. I think I got it that time. Yep. Anyway, since that was my first one, I only wanted to put the butterfly on there. I didn't want to add a bunch of stuff. I just, I was really practicing. And I really brought that in here, and I was going to try to epoxy something on it or resin something. I don't know. Is it the same thing? But then I was like, no, I'm just going to go ahead and do one of these. So anyway, that's it. Super easy. Easy peasy. I am going to put this stuff in my Amazon affiliate link. I will tell you the jars on Amazon are sold out, but you can get them at Target. The lids are already in my affiliate link. I'll see if I can find this resin on Amazon to put in my affiliate link, but you can get it at Michael's. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you on the next Tracy Tries. Remember, I love you. Jesus loves you. Hope he's coming back soon, and I'll talk to you later. Okay, goodbye.